Hey you, how's it going? My name is Ruby Price and you are listening to the 13th ever episode of Fresh from the Scene. Before this podcast gets going, I'm just going to say, thanks for deciding to give it a go. Thanks for deciding to listen in. And thank you for everyone who has left a review or ever, shared a podcast online somewhere. It really, really helps the podcast out in terms of finding new listeners, in terms of getting new artists to come on because then they see that it's been shared and people are listening to this podcast. It's just a couple of things that just, really help out. So, if you like this podcast, then feel free to share it on social media. Feel free to leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to it on. Yeah, just spread the word about Fresh from the Scene. If you weren't aware, the other week I did a radio show for the first time in 2 years. I was on Radio Hud doing a one-off return of Rubes Off Camera. There will be a link in the description so that you can go and listen back to that show if you'd like. A lot of pop punk, alternative rock, post-hardcore, that kind of stuff, If that's what you enjoy, go and listen to that. Go and listen to my radio show. It was all for charity, part of Radio Hud's 24-hour broadcast. They raised over £400 for Forget Me Not Children's Hospice, which is amazing. So enough of my self-promo. Here's an interview with a band where one of the members is renowned for his self-promo. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Episode 13 of Fresh from the Scene with Resist In Retrospect.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with your host, Ruby Price.
Welcome to Fresh from the Scene. Today's guests, plural, are the boys from Resist In Retrospect.
Hello.
I forgot to turn your mics on. The boys from Resist In Retrospect.
Good
Hello.
to see you.
So we've got Tom.
Hey.
We've got Connor.
Hello.
We've got Jamie.
Hello.
And who else is in Resist In Retrospect that is not bothered to turn up?
We have another Connor.
We have another
Connor
Connor
number two.
with a single N
Yeah.
this time. He's from back home, so an hour and a half away, but yeah.
From back home,
Darlington, up north.
up north.
Aye.
So for those of the people who aren't, aware of who you guys are, why don't you give a bit of a rundown who we are, Resist In Retrospect?
Mm-hmm.
So we're a band from Huddersfield Uni. We've been together, 4 years now, nearly?
Nearly
It's
4
3
years.
and a half
3 and a
years
half.
now, yeah.
3.5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been about on the Huddersfield scene a little bit. We've done a few gigs at Parish, Zetland,
Mm-hmm.
We
the
did
late
Hot Live
Zetland.
once.
But we've got another gig coming up at Parish pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Radio Hud Presents, March 10th. Check it out. And yeah, we've been writing an album.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We've recently recruited a new drummer as well, so exciting stuff. We've been in this studio last few weeks. We've been in the rehearsal rooms last few days,
Mm-hmm.
getting prepared. The wheels are in motion.
Yeah, very excited. We've got my friend Alex, who's on my course, Popular Music Production, doing the recording and mixing and possibly mastering on our album as well, actually. And he's incredibly good. Alex Cop Music on Instagram.
He
Go
is
check him out.
great. His production chops are wild.
Massive. When you
Off the
compare
scale.
it to the early demos that we've got on our SoundCloud, and then you look at the stuff he's done, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, fun stuff, fun times.
Yeah. That's all I can contribute to this. You guys have just basically said everything.
We've summarised it. The abridged version of Resist In Retrospect.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just Resist In Retrospect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the reviews on the album.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
It's probably worth noting that Radio Hud Presents, I'll again say March 10th at Parish, £4 for tickets. It's our first gig in what will be 25 months.
Yeah.
Because we've all been away on placement year, so we've kind of been inactive for a very, very, very long time. But we're excited to get back gigging. We've been wanting to do that for quite some time. It's just trying to find the right time to do it, because we kind of wanted for a while to prioritise writing the album, because we've been trying to write and record it since first year, but have had run into multiple failed attempts every single time. And this time we're finally getting some progress with it.
Yeah, it's very it's much more managed this time around because we are just going up to Alex's house to get like all the raw ideas down, and then like if need be we can come into university and do vocals or like reamp guitars and everything like that. So it's a much more steady pace, but like it's like every day we go to his house and get stuff recorded, it's like it's always something that's like significantly done. There's always like significant progress on recording it. So yeah, that's been really, really great actually whenever we go up to his. So big shout out again, Alex. Yeah,
definitely big ups to Alex. I think the new producers really streamlined our process and focused us in sessions. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I think you can tell with the quality of the recordings that we've come out with.
So how did Resist In Retrospect get started? You said that it was all together in your first year.
Yeah, so when it was like I think it's like the third week of September when everyone moves in first year, like around the 17th. It was a few days after that I noticed there was a couple of like Huddersfield music group Facebook groups going on, and I just thought to myself, well, I'm not doing anything as of immediate, so I'll jump into a group and I'll ask around if anyone wants to do anything. And initially started out, I just posted in being like, hello, I'm wanting to form like an alt rock band, just sort of like Muse, Biffy Clyro, Foo Fighters kind of vibe. And I was like, is anyone down? And then Tom commented, I remember him saying, it's like, oh, I can do vocals and or guitar. And I was like, you're doing both, I've decided. Jamie said, you initially said guitar or bass, I believe. And then you were like, but you didn't have your bass with you. Yeah. And I was like, that's fine. And we started doing that. And then our old drummer, Owen, at the time, he was also on that page. And he commented as well, saying I play drums. And then I think it was like 3 weeks after that we met up for the first time. We learned like, I remember it was like 2 Biffy songs, 2 Muse songs.
It was specifically, I think, Captain by Biffy, That Golden Rule by Biffy, Time Is Running Out by Muse, Plug-in Baby by Muse, Hysteria by Muse, which was an absolute bitch to learn on bass.
Oh yeah.
And Everlong by Foo Fighters, which we tried once.
Oh, that one was a nightmare as well.
Yeah, we immediately gave up on it because Tom struggled to emulate Dave Grohl's, I guess, raspiness.
It's like that growly.
It's high as well.
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
But and then it wasn't long after that Tom was like, oh yeah, I've got some like originals we can do, and we were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so we started learning them slowly but surely, and I think we spent like, I think it must have been a good 5 months rehearsing them before we ended up doing a gig, because I remember our first gig was at the end of May in first year, so it was after all of our hand-ins and everything. And that was our first ever gig, and it was like half covers, half originals.
Yeah.
And that was really, really sick. And then that was like, we spent the summer sort of like writing a couple of tunes and just sort of like keeping everything fresh and tidy. Then we came back in second year and did Hud Live along with Alex Tracy again, and that was really, really fun. But yeah, it just started off as just a group of people on a Facebook group, and then just meeting up a few weeks afterwards and just jamming out.
Yeah.
It was fine.
I think it was specifically it was the Hums music.
It was the Hums
Facebook group that we all signed up to, and that was where it was posted.
We never joined
Hums, but it was that Facebook group that led to the formation of this band.
I remember like, I can't remember if I was kicked out due to like either inactivity or like not joining the social.
Yeah, no, I think they kicked everyone off who hadn't paid the membership for the Music Society in the end.
But I think
we got there in time. So.
Yeah, it was fine in the end. I think it was only set up like 2 weeks prior to us moving to uni anyway. I think they'd set them up in advance to sort of like get people in, and then obviously you've got like the Freshers Week stuff. But yeah, that's it. That's how it was.
Big shout to Huddersfield Music Society there.
Yeah, sorry we didn't join.
I mean, you got what you needed and got out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you mentioned you've been recording with Alex
Kopp.
What made you go for him? Was it just because you know him?
It was because I knew him, and I worked with him in my second year doing our recording module, and I remember just watching him go. Like we were sat back at his doing the mixing for the song we were doing. And he was on his keyboard and he was just slamming through all the Pro Tools shortcuts, and I actually couldn't keep up. I remember looking at him going like, Alex, what the fuck are you doing?
That guy's a wizard on Pro Tools.
Honestly, we still sit and watch him like and just absolutely blown away by how fast he is and everything like that. And he also spent his last year working at it was a studio over in Lincoln. It was actually where Frank Hart and the Rattlesnakes recorded his last album.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alex is credited on that album as like I think he's an assistant producer on it. So when we went with him and then we came back in final year, I remember messaging in the summer beforehand being like, hey, how do you feel about recording my band's album? And he was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And I was like, have you got any stuff for me to go straight away? And I remember how I definitely knew I wanted him to produce it was when I sent him an original for a song that we've just finished writing and we're previewing for the first time at our next gig. And I remember I sent him that, and then like not even 45 minutes later, he sent me like a new rough mix that sounded 10 times better than what I'd spent 6 months writing. And I was like, right now, Alex is definitely producing this album. Like, without a doubt, we're getting him on it. And he's been incredible ever since. He's always brought like fresh new ideas that we just didn't even think of when we were doing it. So yeah, we wanted to go with him, and it was also just easier with him being at uni with us and everything. And with him being in my recording group, I can always just go up and chat to him. And so it's easy communication, easy access, and he really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's not just a good producer, he's a great musician as well. So he's not just contributing like production style and
yeah, we're definitely going to have to give him
like,
some like we have given him producer rights and maybe like sort of like performance rights on like one or two of the songs.
Maybe
there's like a little bit in one of the in the new song where he wrote that lead sort of like dotted eighth rhythm over the top of it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not me, that's Alex on that. So he's an incredible guitarist and producer as well.
Yeah, he's really sorted us out.
Is that the sort of, when you're working with a producer, is that the sort of approach you want, where they're being really hands-on and, offering you guys, like, things that you want to be happening?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I've worked in sessions and, like, engineered stuff when I was on my placement year, I remember it was always really handy when I was, like, watching my boss. He would always have a really sort of, like, hands-on approach to, like, helping people out. Like, sometimes he would just have his, like, he would have like a MIDI keyboard and he'd be like doing songwriting stuff next to the people he would be playing with, and he'd just be taking it to a whole new level. Or like he would just be he would always like take the product away when he was working on it. He would come in his own time outside of the sessions and just like go on it as well. So I always thought that was a really, really useful approach to take when working with people. It's always better to have a really good level of communication as well as a hands-on approach.
Yeah, I think it's just it's fun and just engaging to have as many creative voices involved in the process as possible, really. Like the songs that we've written together are like some of our best songs, and just having another voice in there adds a lot, I think.
I think it's also because, well, like, obviously all three of us are in final year at the moment, and we've all got quite a lot on. Like, obviously I'm station manager for Radio Hud at the moment, which you obviously were before, so you know how busy that can be. Tom is currently trying to develop his own app and is also the head of music and production for Radio Hud, so he's got a lot on his plate. And then Connor, you've also got a part-time job to go along with your final year as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like just any kind of extra help that we can get and an extra voice it definitely saves time and helps, definitely get the creative juices flowing.
It's true. Plus, we're all still doing the rock show on Radio Hud on a Thursday, so that is coming up later tonight.
Yeah.
Cheeky plug.
We're just like constantly on air, it feels like, at the moment, with the 24-hour on Monday, and like 2 shows today, so packed schedule.
Yeah, busy last couple of weeks.
Definitely.
I mean, on the topic of Radio Hud, like the last actual Resist In Retrospect performance was actually an acoustic performance of some songs, wasn't it?
Technically,
yeah. We did open mic.
It's a very, very low-key gig, but we did take part in the open mic night that we put on in October. We did, 3 songs?
We did 3 songs. We did
You Are the River, obviously. We did Moldy Raspberry, and then
How to Give Up?
Yeah, I think How to Give Up completely, yeah. Yeah, we've got some really weird names for songs.
So Moldy was one of those songs that just kind of like, I think we had like a weird title for it for so long that we just ran with it. We just kept it in the end. We were just like, screw it, we'll just keep this song title.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. It's one of my favourite ones to play.
Yeah, it's a very unique song title, to say the least.
Yeah.
So did the response to those songs that you played acoustically, fill you with hope for the actual full versions?
Oh yeah.
I'd say so. There weren't actually many people that turned up to that open mic night, so it's hard to gauge it. But I mean,
everyone was there, seemed to enjoy themselves.
Yeah,
so,
everyone was there. Seemed to
it went down.
I know, like from previous gigs, everyone seems to love You Are the River. That goes down really well.
That's always went well.
And then we've played Mouldy Raspberry and Had to Give Up completely enough times now live in our actual gigs that people now, I'd say, safely know what they are. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was just nice to get performing again, really, just to prove that we can still do it. So, yeah, it's definitely like a confidence boost heading into our next full band gig. You know, we remembered the songs more or less.
Yeah. It's also really useful because it means if we ever get around to doing like some acoustic songs, or if we ever get invited to do like an acoustic night, it means we can sort of like change genre for one night really, and just be like, let's slow things down a little. Let's make this a bit more acoustic. Kind of like what Kill the Silence had done with a few of their songs. They've had some like bedroom sessions, as you're aware of everything as well.
I filmed those sessions.
Yeah, you filmed them, yeah. So it's nice to sort of be able to have that diversity going between sort of like alt rock, like heavy pop punk kind of things, to then just sort of slowing it down with acoustic versions. So that's always nice.
Yeah, it's nice to see how much novelty you can squeeze out of one song, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Much like... because one of our other songs, Brutal Truth, which was the second song we wrote, I believe it was, the second song Tom brought to us, we now have a running joke of how many genres can we take Brutal Truth and turn it into, because obviously it's quite, I'd say it's kind of a very Nirvana-y kind of song.
It's definitely our most like punk genre song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, before we went on placement year, we decided to play around with a reggae version of it, which was quite interesting. And then we've been joking around. Like, yesterday, I think we suggested, why not do... What was it that Connor's band does?
His other band at home was country punk.
Yeah.
And I was like, can we get, like, a country punk Brutal Truth?
Yeah. Just how many genres can we make out of that one simple riff?
Can we just bring a banjo for, like, that one bit of the set and just go absolutely ham?
Yeah. It's insane, but
no one in our band can play banjo.
That could be our next release after the album. It's just a whole record of Brutal Truth in like every different style.
Oh yes, I'd be down for that. Brutal Truth remix EP.
Yeah.
Brutal Truth is your new Old Town Road.
I'd love that.
I mean, I'm already fed up of Old Town Road.
I was fed up with it the first time I heard it, honestly.
Yeah, it's really weird because I'm a big fan of Lil Nas. He's actually really, really funny. He's really young, so he kind of just knows to take everything on the chin a little bit. But Old Town Road was like, I liked it, then I hated it, and now I don't mind it. It's just kind of like...
It's the roller coaster of emotions for a song.
Yeah, but that'll be really cool.
What's probably your most favourite gig memory that you've done?
Best gig memory.
I know Jamie's worst gig memory.
Yeah, the worst gig memory is very easy to point out.
But best gig memory...
Hang the DJ.
Hang the DJ.
We had some great gigs with Hang the DJ.
Yeah, we've had two with Hang the DJ.
Yeah, you played the second birthday and I think the first one of, like, what would have been your second year?
Yes.
I think so.
That one, I think, it was us, we opened, and then I think it was Mahatma after us, and then Alex Tracy, and then Riskers, I believe.
We did play with Riskers, yeah.
Yeah, because that was the first one we did, and then the second one was the second birthday one where we were the third band on out of 6.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was a busy night that night.
Yeah, that was that for me, like I guess my favourite gig memory is a toss-up between that and the last gig we did, which was a co-headliner with Palantir at Parish with One Last Ocean supporting. I think those two, I would easily say, would be the best gigs we've ever done, and I've had so much fun during that.
I definitely, I concur with you with that co-headline gig, actually. That was a really, really fun gig. I remember at the time, like, I thought it was really, really funny because I borrowed my mate's reverb pedal because I only had, like, 3 pedals at the time. But I had, like, a giant wooden, like, pallet just with Velcro on it. And trying to sort of, like, touch the pedals between songs, like the few that I had, but like between songs. I remember it was really like, because it wasn't angled, so I had to like really step over it to like actually reach them. And I remember just giggling about that. And I remember at the Hang the DJ gig at Zetland, I think I headbutted the microphone like 3 times during the set, like because I was just getting really, really into it, and I was just having a fun time. And I remember three times I just twatted my head because all you hear is just a and oh, that was really funny in my mind. That was a really funny time. That was a really fun gig. Yeah,
I really enjoyed Hud Live as well. That was a good gig. That was like the first time that we got up in front of like loads of people, I think.
Yeah, there was quite a few people at that gig actually, because it was like we weren't the first. I think we were either the second or third one on the student stage.
We were the first one on the student stage to actually have a crowd. That's what I remember.
Yeah, because I remember there was an acoustic on before us, but he'd like
they put them on before they opened the gates, which was kind of stupid because
ridiculous.
It's like, why would you get a guy to play Hud live and then just make him play for the artists that were already there?
Yeah, he's
sense.
literally playing for the bands that are there, and that's like it. And maybe like the one or two people that had like gotten in beforehand. And I remember I was really annoyed because he was a really, really good singer as well.
He was great,
incredible. I can't remember his name because it was.
He was called Connor as well, wasn't he?
Was he? I might have been.
Thought so.
Might have
There's
been
a lot
actually.
of
Is his name
going
Connor
around.
Stubbs?
Yeah. Possibly.
I want to say Connor Stubbs.
I mean,
I'll get back
look
to
it
you.
up if you want.
Yeah, look it up.
Also, that co-headline we did with Palantir was cool because we all ended up on stage together, like as a Resist In Palantir kind of combo.
Yeah, there were
song we
all
did
of us
together.
on stage afterwards. There were like, what was it, like 4 guitars on stage in total, like 3 guitarists and you on bass.
4 guitarists and me on bass. Yeah,
because Fred had moved over.
Fred moved
Owen
onto
was on
guitar.
drums.
Yeah, and then Andrew kept his guitar, and then you guys kept your guitars as well. So and I was kind of in the back with my bass. I'm like, I've got the biggest instrument here that's not a drum set, and I'm like, I've got the least amount of space. What do I do?
And Parish isn't exactly like, it's not a tiny venue, but the stage isn't exactly the biggest. Like, it's pretty cozy with 4 people.
Yeah, it
like let alone 6.
There's plenty of room for 4 people. 6 is a push.
Yeah, I remember when I went to go see Bury Tomorrow in Parish a couple of years ago, and that's like that's a 5-man band, and like a sold out venue. And there were like people jumping up on stage. I think there was like 20 people on stage at one point. People like hanging off the wooden beams in Paris. It was a mental gig. It was one of the best I've ever been to.
That's crazy.
Nah. But yeah, definitely the co-headline is one of our favourites. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, it was Connor Stubbs.
Yeah.
This guy, he's from Huddersfield. You should get him on. I don't know if he's still around, actually. He's probably...
He might have
Moved on.
graduated.
He's probably
Moved on.
somewhere, I imagine.
But who knows?
Good singer, though.
Stubbing his toe.
I'll be honest, I listened to the Alex Tracy podcast in preparation for this last night, and all the puns from that, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to go through this punnery like on the committee show many years ago all over again.
Yeah, it's like Vietnam flashbacks, but just to Ruby Price
Yeah.
edition Radio Hud.
Radio Hud flashbacks.
Radio Hud Vietnam style flashbacks with Fortunate Son playing as the soundtrack.
I mean, that's pretty unfortunate.
Yep.
Fantastic.
You're all part of the society that's actually organising the Radio Presents, but like the two of you are actually on the committee for like the whole thing.
Yep.
You're playing alongside.
Yeah, so we've got Brad Mack along with us. We've got One Last Ocean, and we've got Valor Creek playing as well.
So they all have ties to Radio Hud.
Yeah.
The bands all include members or significant others of Radio Hud members.
Yeah.
So we're keeping it in house this time.
Yeah, it does seem a bit, I guess, what's the word?
Nepotism?
It does reek of nepotism a bit, but I mean, the logic behind it is, like, my vision for Radio Hud this year was all about trying to rebuild it, kind of get it back up to where we had it before, and then try and make it a bit more professional along the lines of other student radios, like, say, University Radio York, up at York Uni, and then Leeds Student Radio, because you look at them and they're like, wow, okay, they a lot of them end up on like Radio 1 and all that. So I want to try and set Radio Hud up so that someone can build on that in the future, so we can try and get to that point. So with what we've got at the moment, I just thought, with discussing with Greg, our head of live events, it would probably be best if we just got bands that we could easily get, and then kind of use that as a platform. And then the next time we can go back to, say, the old format where we look further afield, get someone bigger in, and you have that. But yeah, this is all just kind of an effort to try and rebuild Radio Hud, I guess, because I think last year was it, like, the guys tried, but it wasn't. It was a bit iffy at times from what I saw from a field, from far afield. But
they didn't do quite as many events as we usually go for, but
so that's something we've been trying to push this year, trying to bring it back up to where it was like when we were on the committee before Ruby, and then when you had like Matt Carr and Melissa Fagan running and all that, and we want to try and build it back up to where it was then.
Yeah. So, going back to Radio Presents, Radio Hud.
Yep.
What should people expect from that event? Obviously there's yourselves, but
what should they expect?
Some prog from One Last Ocean. That'll be there.
Yeah.
Some fat groovy riffs and grooves in general from Valor Creek.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Valor Creek.
Yeah, going to be some big sounds coming from them.
Yeah,
Brad Mack, just great songwriting,
great
fantastic lyrics.
He's got his charisma with him.
Charismatic performance. Yeah, that's Brad Mack's signature.
Brad Mack's the one artist on that lineup who I'd not heard of before.
Really?
Seeing it.
Oh, he's great. Do you know Box Tellies?
Yes.
Yes, he's in Box Tellies as well.
All right.
Yeah. We originally had Box Tellies on the lineup, but they had to drop out because of a scheduling conflict. But Brad let me know, and he said, right, okay, if it's okay with you, I will step in. I will make sure that we have someone on the lineup. So eventually, I think the plan is he's going to do his solo stuff, but he's going to do it with someone else, so it's a bit more than just acoustic. So I can't remember the exact style of it's going to be. It's either going to be twin guitars like Boothroyd, or it's going to be guitar and drums, so kind of like a Royal Blood kind of setup, but just guitar and bass. I mean, guitar and drums, not bass and drums.
Just does a Charlie Hula and brings out a surprise band halfway through the set.
That would be cool,
great.
yeah.
That would be really sick, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, the sound engineer might absolutely hate him.
Yeah.
But it would be really, really cool to do.
I think the sound engineer would probably be in on it. They arranged that.
Yeah, as long as it's arranged, it wouldn't be so bad.
Just like, it's only a surprise to the people who aren't in the know.
Yeah.
Basically,
really cool.
you've got to just come to the gig and find out. March 11th. Radio
10th.
March 10th.
Oh, I've done it now.
Yeah. March 10th. There you go. That's for your editing.
March 10th.
March 10th.
March 10th.
£4 on the parish website. You can get tickets there.
10th of March.
So, obviously you mentioned that when you were getting together, you listed, Foo Fighters, and a load of alt-rock, bands, what have been the artists, have inspired the writing behind the album that you've been doing?
Oh, right.
Biffy's the big one, right? We were all big Biffy fans before we got together. So
that was the main thing.
Yeah. That was a connective tissue in between us.
Yeah. I think the one thing that kind of makes us kind of stand out, I guess, is that while we have, I guess, in terms of our influences, you can kind of picture it like a Venn diagram.
Yeah,
so
we've all got very different influences.
We've all got different influences, but we all have a few bands like Biffy Clyro and Muse in common. It's for me personally, I've got a heavy metal background, obviously. I've got, I'm coming from bands like Metallica, In Flames, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. So all of the kind of classic bands and kind of modern melodic bands like, Trivium and Bullet My Valentine, so I've got all those kind of influences.
Yeah,
you've more
for me, it's
pop
definitely a sort of
it's
like a pop punk and prog for me. Definitely is I listen to a lot of and metal as well, because there's me and you both listen to a lot of While She Sleeps.
Yep.
With this record, I've definitely taken sort of with a couple of songs, I've definitely taken a Lower Than Atlantis approach to some of them, the new one that we got coming out. One of the other ones as well sounds very similar to Superhero by LTA.
Yeah.
And I'm that's erring on the sort of edge of copyright, but we'll work it out. It's definitely more sort of State Champs, Broco, LTA approach to some of the songs that I've written.
Yeah.
And with Tom, it's
something slightly completely different.
I'm an indie boy at heart, so all the great 2000s indie bands. That's my thing really. But more recently, I've got more into prog and math rock, stuff with weird rhythms and stuff. But kind of indies the direction that I like to push my creativity with our project anyway. Because math rock's too hard to do.
Oh yeah,
it's too hard to do live, right?
Much as I adore it, it was really weird because then with one of the songs that we've been writing, it's got a weird tapping rhythm for me in the chorus, and I'm looking at it going, why have I written this? Why have I written something that I'm never going to be able to play live? This is incredible. But yeah, it's a massive mixed bag for everyone, but it's also really nice because it means that talking about sort of how the album is, it's a big split of genres between songs. We quite like to keep it sort of there's a very distinctive sound behind each one, but each song has a different influence on it or a different style, and I really like that approach.
Yeah, I could definitely say that. One of the songs we've written, which is I think it's codenamed Winter 1 at the moment.
Yes.
I've tried to...
Not to be confused with Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, not Winter Wonderland. No, it's called Winter 1 at the moment. It's got a very Stone Sour House of Golden Bones influence to it. And then I know How to Give Up Completely, Tom wrote the day after we saw Vukovi in Leeds in 2017, so it's got quite a big Vukovi vibe to it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And it also, the title sounds a little bit like a Radiohead song, but the song doesn't sound like that song.
No,
it's a very bouncy, slappy bass riff, which is a bit of a problem as I can't really slap bass, so Tom kind of dug me a hole there. But,
Sorry, man.
yeah, I'm able to manage it, so
Yeah.
Get through it.
yeah. I'm starting to learn how to do slap bass properly. It's just trying to get my thumb so it doesn't actually cut.
Yeah, there's a certain
that.
way of like doing it, which is like it stops it from like hurting us out of that and just like years of doing
Yeah, you
it.
just
Yeah.
gotta do
There'll be
it
a
until you
YouTube
get a metal thumb.
tutorial online somewhere.
Oh, I've watched
absolutely.
plenty of
Probably
YouTube tutorials on
Yeah.
it. So it's just a mixed bag of artists, each influencing one individual song, but somehow with the album, with the way we've formatted it, we've tried to make it a way so that all kind of flows seamlessly.
Yeah, so we're working on. So I think we can talk about it a little bit. We can divulge what's going on. We're wanting to release. It's a 16-track album, but 4 of those are interludes. So it's like
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's split into like 4 different sections. The album
Yeah.
basically, and they each sort of like lead into one another. We've been working as well as on rehearsals when we've been recording at home. We've been working on how to sort of like seamlessly transition those into them. I've been telling Alex about the ideas we got, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's really really cool." So it's just a matter of like worming it all in basically. But we have found a way. We've like organized how the album's going to go, and we have found a way to streamline it. It's just a matter of getting it on paper, per se.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got this kind of cyclical concept that we've been toying with, like the idea that you could play the album on repeat and it still makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the end of the album's going to loop back round to the beginning of the album,
Yeah.
and then it's going to flow continuously through. I provide something of a story to
Yeah.
engage with.
Like
That's what we're hoping for.
You could jump on board the ride of the album at any point, and then you can get off just before where you get started, and you've basically just gone in a full circle. And
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also it's designed to keep the people listening, so that they never stop listening. The story never ends.
You just set up a stream farm somewhere for Apple Music. And
Yeah.
That's just going to be Radio Hud after we leave. It's just our album on loop.
Yeah, we're gonna put all the songs on the auto DJ.
Yeah.
They can never
just over
escape.
summer, just like, all right, no one's going in the studio. We've taken the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just popping in for a few minutes. It won't be long. I just need to drop something on the computer. It just uploads the whole album.
Yeah,
Deletes everything else.
Mm-hmm.
deletes all the 1,012 songs or so on the autoplay and just replaces it with 16 ones recorded in 2020.
Yeah,
by
someone's like sat downstairs. Someone's like sat in the SU and they're doing work, and I'm like, I'm sure I've heard this song before.
I'm sure
Like,
I heard it
this
about an
song's
hour
already been
ago.
played.
They just
Like,
put like 30 versions of Brutal Truth on there.
Yes.
that's the extended edition. Oh man.
I mean, it's got to beat Killers FM.
Oh yeah, it's got to be Killers
yeah.
FM.
Killers FM were the golden ages of Radio Hud. I stand by that.
For context, back in my day of Radio Hud, Tom was in charge of putting music on the system and decided to put almost the entire discography of the Killers on the playlist.
What better discography to choose?
To the point that someone on Twitter called us out on it and said, "Aren't you just turning into Killers FM a bit?"
It was fair point, to be fair. I scaled back the Killers operation after that. But
yeah.
there's still a few select tracks that pop up every now and then.
Yeah.
We've now got new software at Radio Hud that can prioritize like newer additions to the playlist. So it's pretty nice because you can set it up to do like an old one and then a new one and then a new one again and then a jingle or something when it's on shuffle. So we've got like a way better selection from the playlist now.
So
when it's
essentially
on
what you can
auto.
do is flick through between Wonderful, Wonderful and Sam's Town over and over again.
Theoretically.
Wonderful, Wonderful is not going near my playlist.
It's Hot Fuzz and Sam's Town that he's going to be flicking through.
Oh, I'm in complete agreement with that. Yes. 2 of the best Killers albums.
Definitely. Sam's Town for me all the way.
That's another influence that definitely pays through on your side as well. There's definitely
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
like with a lot of the sort of more melodic stuff. like with a bit like with Strike a Match and everything like that. There's definitely a more Killers vibe to a couple of them.
Yeah, no, I've always been a huge Killers fan ever since Sam's Town came out.
And Falls. And
Falls. Oh, I love Falls.
Yeah,
great stuff. Falls, Killers, Biffy, and a load of random math rock bands that you wouldn't know.
I mean, whilst we're talking about Biffy, then I guess, like, what do you think of the new Biffy song?
Oh, right.
Do you want to start?
I think it's far from. Well, the thing is, this is coming from someone who didn't mind Ellipsis. Like, I know you two are very.
No,
I'm
okay with Ellipsis except for one song. It's Tom that's a bit very anti-Ellipsis.
Yeah, you're definitely like Puzzles era Biffy, I think.
I'd go earlier than that.
Yeah.
Vertigo of Bliss is my favourite.
Bliss, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind it as much. I think it's really good. I think the synth during the chorus sounds really, really nice. I think that's like my favourite part of it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm kind of hoping the rest of the album's not entirely like that, especially because I believe we all saw them the same year at Leeds. Well, I went to Leeds, you two went to Reading.
Yeah.
It was before we all knew each other, actually, weirdly enough. It was the summer before we all met.
Yeah.
Like, who would have known that, like, literally about a month and a half after we all saw Biffy Clyro at that festival, we would have all been at a band together.
I know, right?
Which is really weird.
The other weird thing, like, and again, it's straying off topic, but Tom and I have been to quite a few gigs that's of the same gigs, but before we've even met, like, because we both went to Foo Fighters at Milton Keynes in 2015.
We did.
Did you also go to Reading in 2015?
Yes.
Yep, we were both there as well. So it's like
that was a busy week.
We may have crossed paths at some point, but we never actually properly met until uni, which is a bit weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So back to Biffy. My thoughts on it are like it's still a good song. It's just from Biffy, I'd kind of wanted a bit more, I guess, guitar based because. It's like synth wise to get that live, they're gonna have to get their session synth player to play it off stage. But I'm with the hope of two things. Firstly, that when they play that live, it's going to be a lot heavier, as there's a lot of rock bands that do like that one synth song. It always ends up a bit heavier live. And then secondly, they've suggested in other interviews this week that the entire album is not going to be like that. Is that the rest of the album's going to be kind of like the Resist In Retrospect album, which is going to be a mixed bag of different genres. So I'm with the hope that there's going to be something a bit heavier, well, for me at least, somewhere on the album when it eventually comes out.
Kind of like how In the Name of the Wee Man was on the Ellipsis album, which is like easily the heaviest song on that album, but also probably the best. That's it. That and
definitely my favourite.
Animal, is it Animal Style?
Animal Style,
I quite like that one as well. It's a good tune. And Wolves of Winter, because they opened with it at that festival. But yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you actually with that whole sounding heavier live thing. There's been quite a few bands that I saw. I saw Fall Out Boy that year, and they did some songs off like American Beauty, American Psycho, which when you listen to it on its own isn't particularly a heavy album, but when they play it live, they definitely sort of like rock it up a little, and that's what made me like that album. I didn't like it, then I heard it live, and then I liked it.
Following on at that point, that also reminds me another band that was like that. Remember back in when you were in Radio Hud when Enter Shikari released The Sights, and I was a bit skeptical about it. Yeah, I waited until I saw them live, and it obviously sounds a lot heavier live, and that made me fall in love with the album a bit more. So it's like definitely like there's always going to be like a heavier sound live compared to what actually is in the album, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I liked The Sights from the get-go. But
Yeah.
Same.
I'm fully aware that a lot of Enter Shikari fans think The Sights is, like the worst Enter Shikari album in history.
Yeah, because my favourite Shikari album definitely lies with Common Dreads, but Flash Flood is Flash Flood is so like it's literally second by like a tiny margin. Flash Flood. I definitely get that whole feeling because I remember when The Sights came out and I was like oh, this album's gonna be fucking phenomenal. I'm really excited for it. I definitely like a lot more melodic approach that Rouse took to sort of like songwriting. It's all well and good being able to sort of like scream about stuff, but when you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, it's kind of like, and you've been doing it for like 10 years already. It's a bit like you definitely want to stay sort of like fresh.
Yeah.
And I really admire that. And Shikari's always found a really good way to stay fresh whilst always sounding incredible. Dreamers Hotel is definitely like one of my favourite songs I've released so far. And I'm really excited for I'm hoping I'll go see them in April.
Yeah, I'm aiming for the April.
Yeah, it will be my 6th time seeing it if I go see them in April, so I'll be really excited for that.
Tom, we missed your opinion on the Biffy song.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm like a much bigger fan of the older Biffy catalogue, to be honest. Like, first 3 albums, Black and Sky, Vertigo of Bliss, Infinity Land, is where it's at for me. I just really enjoyed like the maximalism they put into their composition on those records. Like, it's so kind of crazy and like weird the way that they link ideas together in that music. It seems kind of unconstrained by the norms of other genres that were going on at the time somehow. Whereas now I feel like some of the songs are a little more simplistic, a little more radio friendly, which kind of makes sense for them to do as they progress. But yeah, I just didn't really enjoy Ellipsis that much, apart from In the Name of the Wee Man. I think that's a great song, but the other ones were just too pop for me. So yeah, we'll see where they go with the new record. I think the new track's fine, but it's just not as it's not pushing the boundaries as hard as they have done in the past, I think, like composition wise.
So back onto Resist In Retrospect rather than Biffy Clyro. You've mentioned this new album a lot. Like, when do you think we might hear something from it?
Very good question.
We're hoping to release a few singles, potentially April time.
Yeah.
And then drop the album at some point, probably more towards the end of May.
Yeah.
Beginning of June at the very latest, depending on, obviously, when you're going through like streaming services, so you've got to give them so much notice before you actually put the song up. Like, I think Spotify recommends a month beforehand. Or around that time, depending on how many you're releasing.
Right.
They usually say like with like a month or so at the very latest, just so they can get all the tracks ready, all the streaming quality is all up to like the standard and everything like that. But we're definitely aiming for, and then at like end of May at the very latest. But Alex said that that's plenty of time to work on everything. Yeah,
because I'd say we're roughly like, this is going to sound a bit bad, but I could say I'd say around a quarter of the way through recording, and that seems a way off. But that's only through like 3 sessions.
I was gonna say we've like in the 3 sessions that we've had with Alex, we've gotten shitloads done.
Yeah, 3 sessions of about 2 hours each. So it's like there's still plenty of time that we can go in for possibly longer days or more days throughout the week, and then we can get that done really quickly.
Yeah, especially with like. If we do drop a couple of singles in April, obviously we've still got hand-ins and everything like that, but we have got like 3 or 4 weeks off for Easter. And I don't know about you, I'm not going home. I've got far too much to do.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm probably going to stick around through Easter.
So I don't know, Alex isn't really going to be going home much as well. So I reckon in April it would just be a matter of finishing touches and the mixing process. Who knows? We might actually do like, if we still have time, we might do like I think we chatted about before, we'll do like a little album preview or like an album highlight on like a radio show.
Yeah, we might just turn the Radio Hud Rock Show into a whole album playthrough and commentary show.
Yeah, like a when they do like when they like live, not like live stream it, but like they go like live on like listening party. That's the one.
Yeah.
Well, like we'll just play each song. We'll talk about like our reasons behind lyrics and stuff. Could get Alex and Connor in on it as well if they're
absolutely,
around.
Yeah, they'd be sick. They'd be really good to have on it as well.
We'll definitely stay tuned to Radio Hud Rock Show 7 till 9 on a Thursday night. RadioHud.com. We'll be like previewing some tracks and that at some point. So
definitely.
See, my self-promotion tactics have rubbed off on other people now.
I was literally about to say, like,
I know, I'm in a habit now.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, the gig, March 10th.
Yeah.
We're going to play some songs. So if you want to hear some songs, do come along. Parish, around 7 p.m, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like 7 doors open.
Radio Hud Presents.
Doors open 7, yeah.
We'll be there. And we hope you will be too.
Yeah. I mean, my next question was going to be like, if there's anything else you guys want to plug.
I think we're good for that.
Well, they're all good.
Oh yeah, I released an app this week. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Feel free to.
Check it out, tomdawes.co.uk/blockboy. That's TOMDAWES.co.uk/BLOCKBOI.
There will be a link in the description.
Link in description.
I'm working on a little solo instrumental EP that's been in the works for a while. I just need to. 2 of the songs are written and recorded. I just need to sort of like remix them a little bit. I'm not happy with a couple of things. One of them's like 3/4 recorded, one of them needs recording, but that EP hoping to release sometime around the end of June as well. That's going to be called Atlas, and that's going to be like just 4 songs of looped guitar and reverb on everything. Boothroyd, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my plug for anything I'm releasing.
I guess my plug is just listen to Radio Hud, because I don't have anything extra else going on besides running the society, so just tune in to radiohud.com. The schedule's about half full, so just go on, look at the schedule, see what any shows are on, see what one picks your fancy, and just tune in and listen.
So if people want to find Resist In Retrospect online,
yes,
where do they go?
Because we've been plugging this at the end of every show, and yet no one does it.
So it's...
let me get the official...
If you search in on Facebook, you'll find, if you put in Resist In Retrospect, will come up. Same with Instagram, I believe. But I think is there something...
We've got a SoundCloud as well.
We also have a SoundCloud.
Yes,
that's the same with the SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.com/RNR. So just RINR.
Yeah, that's our SoundCloud. That's where, I mean, it's currently full of our demos. Our SoundCloud is how we send stuff to each other. It's kind of like, oh, I've just dropped it on the SoundCloud. We can listen to it. It's kind of just a listening platform. But then once everything is recorded, we will take everything off and put the proper releases on.
Yeah,
it's continually renewed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not that we use the Twitter page that much, but at RNR Band on Twitter, we've only got 16. We're one of those bands that follows more people than we have followers at this point, so we could really do with building that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'd say more than anything, give us a like on Facebook, because we've got, I think, less likes on Facebook than most Huddersfield bands, so we really need that sweet promotion.
We will also be setting up a YouTube page to put all of our songs on and everything as well, I believe.
Yes.
To be announced on that, but I will set that up very soon for us, actually.
Sweet.
Resist In Retrospect on Facebook, R&R on SoundCloud, and R&R Band on Twitter.
Yeah.
And check out Rubes wherever you're listening at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the plug, Tom.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I hope the gig goes really well.
Thank
you.
I
hope that the actual remaining 75% of the album recording goes really well.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. And thank you for coming on the podcast.
No worries.
Thanks for having us. It's been great.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with Ruby Price.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, share it on social media, leave a review, all of that jazz. You can find links to everything that the boys decided to plug in the description below. You can also find links to the Fresh from the Scene social media in the description. If you want to find us on Twitter, it's at FFTScene, that's FFTSCENE, or you can find me on Twitter at Rubes, RUUBEZ, or, Instagram at Rubes001. All of that aside, I hope you have a good week, and I will see you in the next podcast. Thank you very much. Goodbye.